Hello guys, as you must have read in the description of the video that this is about knowing whether success and failure do they really exist in my life or my friend's life or your life or anybody's life, and if it does, then what is it? Success and failure, it's like a part and parcel of our lives. Every second, every hour, every day, every month, just anytime, every time we are almost concluding or deciding or telling ourselves that am I succeeding, am I failing, am I doing any progress. But you see, the very fundamental thing is success and failure are not really real, for the reason that they come out of same mother. And the mother of success and failure is comparison. It may sound a bit funny, but it's true. Until unless you compare yourself with anything living or non-living, you don't get that feeling of achieved a success or failure. For a very conventional example, my friend, he has a good job, a good life. He's enjoying and he's earning more than me. He's enjoying probably all the luxuries of life, which I desire or aspire for. So now my definition of success, or my context of success, is that I compare my life with him, or I compare my life with his. You know, so this comparison brings me to a conclusion that I am a failure. But yes, well, you are a failure if you do that comparison. But if you, for a moment, do not do that comparison, then you are not a failure, right? And not only that, this comparison is more of like it's more of like quantitative in nature. If you have if you only have one friend of that kind, you are a failure. But if you have 10 friends like that, you will consider yourself a bigger failure, isn't it? So the nature of this comparison is quantitative. So, and what we really need is to go towards a more qualitative comparison. And a qualitative comparison can never come out of comparison. But that's a little tricky and it sounds maybe confusing, but it's true. So, what would be a true qualitative comparison? Well, that kind of comparison means you compare yourself with yourself. No, it doesn't sound right, right? What does it mean really? I'll give you an hypothetical situation. Let's assume you are there on this planet Earth, or let's assume that some catastrophe happens in near future. Already we are suffering from this virus. Something happens, and somehow you manage to go into a team of people who are they have discovered enough technology that they can migrate to another planet. So now what happens? You are in that batch of the people who are about to go to a new planet because Earth is destroyed. Now what happens? All your crew members, they happen to die, and you are the only person who is able to make it onto that planet. So now you live your life on that planet. Now you will see your quantitative comparison cannot exist. So you will never be able to call your life a success or failure because you don't have anybody to compare. Maybe then you will be in a much more better mental and physical state, right? Because you will never you'll never you don't have to face that feeling of fear, this that feeling of that state of knowing yourself as a failure, because you can't compare, but you have yourself to compare yourself with. Now that is a qualitative comparison, and that may be a that can reflect on the true success or failure if it has to. But then in that context, there doesn't exist anything like failure, because it's like tracking, right? When you compare yourself with yourself, you are tracking events. You're not pinpointing to objects, people. You're tracking your progress. Okay, what you were earlier, what you have accomplished earlier. So now what you have to do more. So that is more like a qualitative approach. So it's just a request from my side, because I just wanted to throw some light on this topic, because I think I have an experience of 30 years. So it may not be useful for a person who is more aged than me, but I think it can reverberate, and it can resonate with students, job doers, or all the people below my age. They can actually listen to it, and maybe they'll find something useful out of it, instead of comparing their lives, their selves, their talents with other things, and you know generating that sense of failure into themselves, which is no good if you are meant to make some progress in your lives. So make it more qualitative than quantitative. Do not compare. That is the thing. That is the major verdict. Do not compare your lives, because you cannot. You have your own life to live. You cannot live somebody else's life. So you cannot compare. You can only compare what you can experience, right? You can only experience your life. So do not compare. If you want to compare yourself, just compare yourself with the self you were in your past, right? So that will be a like tracking, qualitative measure, qualitative process that can get you some help to grow. So success and failure are just uh, false concepts growing coming out of comparison. Do not compare yourself with any other thing. That's all.